Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Doctor Who figure video. Yes, today character options have dropped the summer wave of Doctor Who B&M sets, where we go, yes, Doctor Who figures, huzzah! And then you realise you've got to traipse around about 100 B&Ms to try and find the damn things. But you know what? The quest is the quest, as they say in Underworld. Not that people quote Underworld, but I just have. But moving on, this is very exciting as we have 3 sets to talk about. So we've got the First Doctor and Death Zone Dalek, we've got the Revelation of the Daleks, History of the Dalek set, and the 6th Doctor and TARDIS from the Ultimate Adventure. So the way this video is going to work is I'm going to break down each set, talk about them, give you my thoughts on them, and then we'll do a little bit of detective work and sort of talk about what character options have done to give us these new Doctor Who figures. It's all very exciting. But before we dive into the B&M sets themselves, if you're new around here and you just found the channel because of this video and you like your Doctor Who figure related content, then please do consider hitting that subscribe button because it really does help me out. Or leave a like, it really does help, because there's plenty of Doctor Who related content, well, figure related content coming up in the near future, whether that be reviews of the B&M sets. I'll be doing a video talking about the Doctor and Dalek twin pack from Toys R Us, and then I will be doing a top 10 figures from 2011, so plenty of Doctor Who figure content, and plus whatever character options throw at us, I'll probably review it. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about these B&M sets. Okay, let's dive into these sets. So first impressions, it's looking way more promising than last summer's set because we don't have that god-awful 10th Doctor figure, which is somewhere in there, but we shan't bring the abomination out of his slumber. But yeah, two things to note straight away is the packaging. Really cool, really like the new Style Guide packaging. It seems so visually striking, and when you're hunting in the B&M aisles, you want something that's striking, so you can just go, right, there it is, I'm gonna nab you and take you home, and then put you on my shelf and go, that's pretty. So yeah, packaging really good, I love it. It's interesting that the Death Zone set has sort of the blue background, and then the other two have the more sort of fiery background, what we've seen on the other character options online, stuff like the Sonic Screwdriver and the Regeneration set. We've got a price increase. The Richard Herndl and Death Zone Dalek set is $24.99, and the Necros set is $24.99. So it's kind of, I think the sets were $21.99, so they're a bit more spenny, but I guess it's more like the Forbidden Planet prices you would pay, which were $24.99 for the twin pack. And we have the 6th Doctor and TARDIS, which is priced at $34.99, which is the old Forbidden Planet TARDIS price. So you know, it's fine. Its price is what we've seen before in the line. I guess because we're so used to the £20 mark for the B&M stuff, it's a little bit of a shock, but you know what, I'm happily going to pay it because, you know, I'm kind of already deep in the Doctor Who figure life. So the first set I'm going to talk about is the Death Zone set, or the History of the Daleks set 13, I think they're calling it. This set I really love. I think that this might be my favourite. I don't know, it's between this and the TARDIS. I've not quite decided, there's something quite cool about this one because it feels like a nice sort of throwback to the Toys R Us Doctor and Dalek twin packs from 2013. And essentially those twin packs sort of were the start and the genesis of the History of the Dalek set line, what we get in B&M, so it's nice. It's a nice little throwback. So this contains a Richard Herndl First Doctor figure, which is very cool. First time seeing this in the line. We did get a prototype back in 2012, what leaked, but they lost the original head sculpt, so they've done a new digital scan for this. And I have to say the head sculpt looks really cool, and I think that this is a figure that looks really good on the photos, but I think in person we're going to be blown away by it, just by how better it looks in the flesh really. But yeah, again, I'll do a breakdown on what they've done to make this Richard Herndl figure as well. Sadly the coat should be a little bit longer, but you know what, it's fine. If it gives us a Richard Herndl figure, it's great. My only disappointment with the Richard Herndl figure itself is it doesn't come with the pineapple. If it comes with a pineapple, it would be #1 figure of all time. But the Dalek is probably the main star of this set, and it looks absolutely stunning. It's a Dalek we've sort of wanted in line for a long time, and I think character options have knocked it out of the park. We've got a new dome light, a new eye stalk, the neck bin section's been extended, and we've even got a little orange dot to sort of highlight the little flipper, so when the Dalek would exterminate, this little petal would sort of shoot out. So it's nice to see that included, and it just a really nice sort of, pops against the sort of darker sort of bluey grey of that 80s Dalek. Take a look at the First Doctor. So we have your standard First Doctor figure. I guess any First Doctor figure is really the base, but I've chosen the Three Doctors one because of the grey trousers, which are very reminiscent of the Richard Hurdle trousers. The waistcoat has been given more of a sort of a creamier finish instead of this sort of white colour scheme, and of course the most notable change with this figure is obviously it doesn't have the Bill Hartnell head sculpt, but the Richard Hurdle head sculpt, and we have the added fingerless gloves, which is a nice attention to detail, and that's essentially all you can really say on that, what's made the Richard Hurdle figure, because that's essentially what it is. Taking a look at the Death Zone Dalek, so I've brought the free 80s drone Dalek. So this is the Resurrection from the 4-pack, the Toys R Us Resurrection, and then we have the Revelation Dalek, which I think is the most closest in terms of colour scheme for this, but of course we have the new eye stalk on this instead of the sort of more sort of bigger rings, I would say, on the actual Dalek's eye stalk, and then of course we have the new dome light instead of the sort of Mini Cooper sort of section. We've got the ring section, sort of the neckbin section being extended there, which is really nice, and of course we have the added addition of the little flipper with the orange circle being painted to give that illusion. But yeah, you can see the sort of difference in the mesh there. But yeah, that's essentially the difference with that, and also what's lovely about the sort of 80s Daleks is that, well, I would say the especially the Toys R Us one, you can see the plunge has been given the sort of slight silver paint to give that illusion that it's extended. That's also been included on the Death Zone Dalek, which is a really nice touch. The next set I'm going to talk about is the Revelation of the Dalek set. Now this set, I was probably expecting sort of a Scarizian Dalek and a Necros Dalek, but I guess we'll see the sort of, I guess maybe because of the Death Zone Dalek it looked a bit too similar to maybe the Scarizian Dalek, but we've got two Necros Daleks. Now this was the sort of history of the Daleks that I was kind of dreading, because I'm not a huge fan of the Revelation sort of Necros Dalek design. And I think the figures are a little bit iffy, but there's been some new things, and I think this makes these for sort of the definitive version of the Necros Dalek. So we've got two Necros Daleks, like I say. We've got the new eye stalk, some new dome lights, and I think in the packaging you can really see the difference in colour for these Daleks, as the original Necros Daleks were more of a white. These are more got a sort of an ivory finish to them, and the gold was quite bright on the original Necros Daleks, which we'll do a little comparison in a minute to those. But this is more sort of a bronzier gold, which I think is very striking. You can really see they really pop in the packaging, these Daleks actually. And we've got a new sort of midsection. You can see the ovals more sort of defined, which is really cool, and yeah, it's really nice to see sort of a definitive version of these Necros Daleks. And I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised by these, because as not a person who's a fan of the Necros Daleks, it's great to see these give a bit of a zhuzh up, because I think the original figures, the eye stalks, were just far too short for me, and I just didn't like that. But these look a better proportion to the actual Dalek itself. So let's do a little side by side on the existing Revelation Necros Daleks. Breaking down the Necros Dalek set, so we have the Forbidden Planet 4-pack Necros Dalek, the Sound Effects Necros Dalek, and the Toys R Us Necros Dalek. So in terms of new features with this, so we have a new eye stalk, which seems like a nice hybrid of the original, which I think was far too long, and the sort of Sound Effects and Toys R Us one, which the eye stalk was just far too short. So I think this is a nice sort of amalgamation, a nice sort of hybrid of those two eye stalks together. We've got new dome lights on these new Necros Daleks. You can see they're a lot more sort of, they've moved away from sort of the Mini Cooper Dalek dome lights. You can see they're a little bit more pointy on the new B&M set. We have the neckbin extension on these Daleks, and most notably we have the new sort of oval section on the sort of mid-section. As you can see, especially on the side, you can see how it's more indented and sort of carved out, whereas you can see It's kind of flat on sort of the original versions there. But like I was saying, in terms of like the sort of colour scheme, I would say the Forbidden Planet Necros Daleks are closest to these B&M ones. You can see it's more of a bronzy on the gold, which I think is more striking compared to sort of the kind of washed out gold on the two Necros Daleks here. But yeah, I think those are only the sort of differences on there. So we've got some nice sort of updated versions to make the definitive Necros Daleks. So the final set I'm going to talk about is something people have wanted in the B&M line for a long time, the Sixth Doctor and TARDIS, but not the one we were expecting unless you followed the leaks. We have the Sixth Doctor from his appearance in the Ultimate Adventure, the stage play from 1989 I think. Now for many years we've been told that the Sixth Doctor figure would never be in the B&M line because of the paint apps, because of the coats, far too expensive for them to do. But this is a nice little loophole for them to get around going, here's your Sixth Doctor figure. And it's such a striking variant and I really like it. I think the one downside I have with this set is the packaging. Same with the David Bradley TARDIS, it's in this sort of no window, the figure's out in and sort of exposed to the elements, which is an awful shame. So it's one of those ones where you've just got to pray that no small child has sort of destroyed the figure in the aisle before you get it. But yeah, I really love this set. The 80s box, it sort of gives me sort of Logopolis vibe with the sort of more tinged windows, because the windows are very much like the Sharda TARDIS. So I guess this could double as a TARDIS from Logopolis. Sort of, you could recreate scenes from Logopolis with that, which is really cool. But yeah, I know it's not an exact Sixth Doctor TARDIS because I think it's more of a lighter blue, the Sixth Doctor TARDIS. But I think that this is a real cool variant and a nice sort of what if, and it's nice to see sort of the character options line sort of expand from not just for TV stuff but more sort of obscure areas of Doctor Who. And I think that this is really cool. So we've got this really nice cool variant of the Sixth Doctor. Again, we'll do a breakdown on what character options we've done to make these figures. But yeah, I really do like this set. Maybe I'm thinking about it. I'm a sucker for a Doctor and TARDIS set, and I think that this is a real striking and very unique sort of set to join the line. So let's do a little breakdown on that. In terms of the Sixth Doctor, so we have a standard Sixth Doctor figure just repainted in his Ultimate Adventure costume, which I think is a lot more, you know. In terms of the Sixth Doctor figure, it is essentially your standard Sixth Doctor figure repainted in the colour scheme as the Ultimate Adventure. Interestingly to note with the trousers, I think there's like 3 versions of the trousers with the Sixth Doctor, and you can see on the promotional images they've given them sort of more of a brown line. They're not as sort of close together in terms of stripes as sort of the original Sixth Doctor figure sort of trousers, but you can see they've been given this sort of orange sort of brown finish line to them. The shoes don't have the sort of spat design. I don't think there's any sort of high-res images of the actual sort of purple and sort of blue sort of Sixth Doctor coat. I think that they've sort of done a bit of artistic license, especially when it goes to the back of the figure. But they've sort of updated the paint apps on the face to make sort of more of that sort of blonde wash, to give that sort of really sort of classic Sixth Doctor sort of look. But yeah, not much you can say about it because it's essentially a repainted Sixth Doctor figure in the Ultimate Adventure colour scheme, which looks fab. Taking a look at the TARDIS now, so I would say the main base for this being the Kayser-Androzani TARDIS. I know this is the Visitation one, but you know, I think this is more of an actual representation of this sort of Ultimate Adventure TARDIS. But yeah, you can see the sort of that being the main base, but with the sort of decals of the Sharda TARDIS windows, and I think that this TARDIS has been given sort of more of a darker finish and a bit more weathering to give it that more scuffed and well-travelled TARDIS. Not that the prop was completely battered, but you know, a well-travelled TARDIS, I would say. But yeah, I think it would be interesting to see how that TARDIS looks compared to sort of the Fifth Doctor TARDIS, because yeah, I think that'll be the main test to see how it looks. But like I say, it would be a nice sort of double as a Logopolis TARDIS. So there we have it. That is my thoughts on the B&M Summer Wave for 2023. Let me know your thoughts down below. What set are you most excited for? I'm really torn between the I keep saying David Bradley, a Richard Hurdle figure, and the Dalek, and of course the Sixth Doctor and TARDIS, which, you know, looks glorious. And I can't wait to add these to the shelves. Of course, when I get the sets, I will be reviewing them. But yeah, really exciting times. I think we'll probably get another B&M announcement soon, and hopefully we'll get some more character options online, exclusive reveals soon, because, you know, we're on the road to the 60th anniversary. So it'd be great to start building up hype and getting some more Doctor Who figures to add to our shelves and go, it's pretty, isn't it? So yes, thank you everyone for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this video, then please do like and subscribe, because it really does help the channel out. And I'll see you next time for more Doctor Who shenanigans. So thank you very much, and goodbye.